If you have a well-known employee brand, then you don't have to spend so much money on recruiting talent.
These high potential candidates, they don't want to go through a lot for the application process.
Yeah.
They don't.
And you decide what is the right thing to do at the right time.
Hi, I'm Hope Malvo, CEO of Vogue Professional Services.
Hi, I'm Miracle Simeon, the COO of VPS. And we work with companies to create an environment where employees feel engaged and valued.
So today's video, we're going to talk about employer and employee branding.
Yes.
So let's get started.
So, a word is a word, a picture is worth 1,000, and a brand is worth millions. And that's a saying by Tony Shane, and he is the CEO of Zappos. So the topics that we're going to discuss today is what is an employee branding, the importance of employee brand, employee branding program, and then last but not least, we got to give you some examples.
I'm going to hit you with the examples. So what is employee branding? So when we're thinking about employee branding, we need to think about it as a question. So how is your company perceived by current and prospective potential employees? Organizations that have those positive employee branding often have strong engagement programs, a motivated workforce, and they are actually willing to advocate for the company's brand. Actually, your employees are the biggest advocate for your employer brand. So when we're thinking about how to just think about it from a simplicity standpoint, it's employee branding involves presenting the company in the best possible light to the employees, to potential employees, to the community, and to other stakeholders.
So let's get into why it is important. Right. And like Hope said, it's all about attracting great talent and retaining your existing talent. And so when you create an environment, or the branding, the employee branding is so evident. You feel it, and then the existing employees want to be a part of it. They want to stay. They have this pride of it.
And they tell people
about it. And when other people notice something like, oh, you guys work hard, but you play harder, and then they kind of smile because they're like, yeah, we do that. And it's so engaging that job seekers want to be a part of what you've created. And this is something that I know CEOs and companies aren't thinking about it, but it can reduce costs. And let me explain. So if you have a well-known employee brand, then you don't have to spend so much money on recruiting talent and posting it in Indeed and LinkedIn and getting staffing agencies, because you can post something on your website and you get an influx of people wanting to be there. And then you have great talent that they may even want to work at your company for less, compensation wise, because
the environment.
Yes, they just want to be a part of it. So it could be a really good strategy to reduce your recruiting costs. And so another reason why it's important is it enhances the employee engagement. And so employees, they come a part of the branding. When you are focusing on an employee-centric company brand, then that employee exudes the culture and the nature of your company. And so this has low turnover because, like I said earlier, the employees have a sense of pride and ownership, and they almost created this environment. And it sets the foundation for your company and for potential candidates to come, and then they fall in line. It's so strong that they, if you have a company that, like I said, for the example I said earlier, that we work hard and we play hard, then new candidates kind of just fall in place. And it's like this well-oiled machine.
Yeah. So when we're talking about employee branding programs, really researching, you might have a perception of what your company is known for and what people are saying about your company, but you probably don't.
Yeah.
You may have a sense of it, right? You may, if you're not doing like feedback and you're not, collecting data, then you just assume your company is what you perceive it to be. But we encourage you to research. Do your research. Google yourself. See what people are saying about you. There are Glassdoor. That's a website you can go to in those types of websites to see really what are people saying. And these are your employees on Glassdoor. I know a lot of companies kind of write off the Glassdoor and they're like, it doesn't really matter. But I would take that as constructive feedback so that you can do better.
Yeah.
You can do better.
And I think people write it off because it is people complaining mostly, but you need to see the bad stuff.
You need to see the bad stuff too. And I've seen a company, I will not mention the company, but I've seen a company that has amazing reviews on Glassdoor. Like they had a few bad ones.
Yeah.
But the good ones outweigh the bad ones. And I'm like, okay, I'm hoping that they are leaning into what they're doing wonderful. And that leads me to walking the talk. So the value, right? So your company has a set of values, but are you following those values? So what I mean by that is your executives, is the leadership staff doing what you're saying you value? Because employees are actually looking at that. Right? It's what you're doing that's going to cause them to behave in a certain way or to perceive your company in a certain way. And if you don't even have values, then you haven't planned to take your company to the next level. In other words, you don't know where your company is going. It's just kind of happening. So establishing those values and making sure as a leader that you're following those values, or the folks that are in your organization are actually following the values, the higher up, because it's true that management actually dictates the cadence of the work. And how employees behave within the organization. I guess an example of that is if you say you have an open door policy, but maybe the door is open, but you're too busy. Yeah. Then you don't have an open door policy. If people can't just walk in and have a casual conversation with you, then you're not an organization that listens to feedback.
So don't list it as a value. Another good one is when companies say, innovation or even collaboration, but you can't even remember the last time you spoke to one of your employees on something. Like you work in a siloed environment, so y'all not coming in here generating new ideas, and it's always we do it this way. That's not being innovative.
That's not being innovative. So take it off your balance.
Yeah, take it off the list.
So I guess what we're saying is you're the biggest advocate. As a leader, if you're a leader listening to this, if you're a manager, you're the biggest advocate for how your company is going to be perceived. So, think about that as you're interacting. Think about those values and making sure that you're actually doing what you're saying. You're talking the talk and walking the walk. Getting active on social media. That's huge because your employees or potential employees are Googling you too. They're looking at you. They're wanting to see what's going on. So taking it a step above just like your LinkedIn page, maybe having, social media that's around the employee experience. Maybe, you're posting videos of a hiring, you're having a job fair, different employees that are doing special projects. Maybe they're going to be a part of the social media, really creating an employee brand that actually represents your company. So in other words, when we go on there as employees or people that are looking at your company, we want to know your culture. We want to know what you're really about, because honestly, whether you intend to have a culture that's ... or not, it's happening. It's happening. I always say it's kind of like breathing. It's happening. If you're alive, you're more than likely breathing, and it's happening whether you're thinking about it or not. So I would say just be extremely intentional about how you present yourself on social media. The next thing is having a positive candidate experience. So you have a potential candidate, and these high potential candidates, they don't want to go through a lot for the application process. They don't. Like, if they can't get on and fill out an application, if they have to jump through too many hoops, you might miss out on a potential great employee
Mm-hmm.
just because they really don't have time for that. So one thing you can do is you go through the process,
Yeah.
and you look for deficiencies. I remember working with a manager who told me, you're looking for your work to be right, Hope, and I'm looking for your work to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going through that process, look for what's wrong. Don't look for what's right, because we're going to naturally do that. Look for those deficiencies so that you can improve the process if it's not improved enough. And last but not least, employee feedback. Your employees they know what's going on. They know what's going on. Ask them. When it comes to employee feedback, I can't even express how valuable that knowledge is and how you need to be open to receive it. And sometimes it can feel painful because it's what constructive criticism at its greatest, especially if you have an open door policy and you're encouraging your employees to talk to you and give you feedback. It can seem a little brutal, but it's not. It is honestly a tool that can be used positive. So I would definitely, suggest that you talk to your employees, survey your employees. An employee engagement survey is huge. That gets you to understand what your employees are feeling and what's really happening. So later on, we'll send you some resources on how you can kind of get that process started, but it's truly important to get your employees' feedback.
Let's just talk about 2 quick examples of companies that are getting it right. So, of course, Google. Google is only 16 years, and they've been doing it right they consistently rank top on as far as employees or best places to work. And they create a philosophy where you work hard and you play harder, and it's a part of their success. And one thing that they do great that I like is they give the employees autonomy for 10% of their time and pay to do what they want to do. Sure. And so their philosophy is do the things you love, do what you think that's important. And so that's an example of talking the talk and walking the walk. We say that we value your creativity and what you bring to the table, and we're giving you autonomy to make decisions on your own, and you decide what is the right thing to do at the right time. Another good example is Adobe. And so Adobe is a shared content. And so they, for their employees, they have over 900 employees. And so they give them autonomy to talk about, the experience, their work life. They have a hashtag. It's called Pound Adobe Life. And so at any time you can see these employees talk about the environment, the culture, what they love about their job. And think about the reach. It says that they have over 3 million additional reach because one person is sharing content specifically about their work environment and why they love working there. And it's being distributed to so many people. So you have access to get a glimpse of what goes on a day in the life of an Adobe employee. And then the employee is constantly looking for material to showcase. So you have this camaraderie around the employees, and then the benefit is other people gets to see a window of what's going on.
Sure. And so the employees become an advocate, essentially. So as we close here, employee experience, it's key to great employee branding. That's really essential. And that's the biggest takeaway at this point. It's all about the employee experience because that's what's going to drive the employee brand. So we do have a treat for you. If you are interested in knowing how your employees are viewing your company and what your employee experience looks like, we are giving you a free survey. So click the link below. So I wish you had the I know, like this. Click the link below to get your free survey. And if you like what you've heard, click like and subscribe. Until next time, Vogue Pros, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.